Hello, how are you today? Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this presentation, which has been prepared for you today. But firstly, before I go ahead, I'd like to introduce myself. My names are Pascal Uchenna Nlawadem, and I will be your coach throughout this presentation. But firstly, this video marks the first of many others which would be on its way, because this is the beginning of a series which we would be calling the Financial Education Series. For those of you, especially the younger generation, okay, or maybe, you are at a certain age where you have been concerned about money and how much you're making, and it's something that has been of concern for you over a period of time, and you really want to do something about it. Well, what I'll get to say is that you're welcome for you to get to take the time out to listen to the information, because as we progress, more and more information will be shared on this platform to enable you make a decision or decide to re-strategize if it's something that you've already embarked on life journey, or you're just about to start life itself. Maybe you're in your 20s, or you've just graduated from university and you're now thinking about yourself and what to get to do. Well, I would say that this is the best place for you to come to, because I'll be taking the time to educate you more on this subject. We're going to be tapping into an idea, okay, by an author which I believe is widely known by most of us, Robert Kiyosaki, okay, on his diagram, which he used to illustrate the meaning of the cash flow quadrants. So, in his book, this is exactly what the cash flow quadrant looks like. Similar to a cross, but I would get to explain this further for those of you who don't know about it. And for those of you who do, I'm quite happy, because at the end of the day, it means that you have been taking the time to educate yourself on this subject. So, the cash flow quadrant, there were two sides to the cash flow quadrant. The left side and the right side. Okay? These two places let you know how money is actually made. And how, what do I mean? Because on the left side of the quadrant, you have the E, okay, which stands for earned income. This is for people who work, okay? You go to work and they pay you money at the end of the month. The S is for the self-employed, the super person. This is the person who decided that, you know what, enough is enough. I think it's high time I take control of my own future. On the right side of the quadrant, you have the B, which stands for the business owner, and you have the I, which stands for the investor. But before I go ahead, I'd like to tell you a story, okay? Now, it's about a village, okay? And in this village, they had a drought. They had a problem with water. There was water scarcity in the village. And one of the things that they did, to come up with a solution when the elders of the village came together, was that they decided to put the responsibility to two people who would be responsible for providing water to the village. They had a river which is about 5 miles down the road. That's quite a distance, okay? Now, let's call these two people individual A, okay, and individual B. It was all agreed, terms and conditions were agreed, okay, signed on paper, and they were asked to commence work immediately, since it was something that was highly required. Wow, these two individuals were really excited that yes, that now they had a business going on, and life was going to be looking great. But there was something different about these two people. These two people, what was different was the strategy. The strategy they adopted in providing their services to the village. The next started going to the stream, hurling buckets of water to every household in the family. Over a period of time, it dawned on him that, listen, that he could not do this alone. He then invited his family for them to come and join him in the business. So every member of his family was now involved in the business and responsible for providing water to the community. Individual B disappeared. No one saw him. Only his family members knew his whereabouts, that he was out of town. Okay? So now, the rest of the community were looking at him as someone who's unserious. There's someone who was, given such responsibility to provide water to the community, just disappeared like that, without explanation or anything. But what happened was that this particular individual went into the city. He went to the city to talk with some people, with a construction firm, because he had an idea. And his idea was to connect pipelines from the stream to the community, to the village. After all said and done, he was able to convince one or two people to come back with him. And after that, he went back. But this other guy kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, every day. Back, the villagers were astonished in terms of, wow, he wasn't just coming back alone, but he had a group of people and trucks coming with him loaded with pipes. Construction commenced. After about a week or two, construction stopped. What they had actually done was they had constructed, or they had connected the village to the stream. Meanwhile, while construction was going on, kept doing the same thing, okay? Like looking at the other guy, that what are they doing? What's this whole paparazzi all about? Now, the day it dawned on him was the day construction stopped and they owned the tap. What happened was that the pipeline now was able to provide water every household in the community. On that fateful day, unfortunately for this individual, that was the day that his contract terminated. Why? Because now the individual B had been innovative enough to provide the community with water, including individual A. So there was no need for him hurling buckets of water anymore. That lost out to this individual. This story is likened to life itself. The reason why I said it's likened to life itself is because people on this part of the quadrant hold buckets of water every day. And that is why they end up being unhappy, they end up being depressed, end up being sad, because most of them are actually even stuck in jobs that they are not happy doing. Why? Because we have liabilities, things that take money out of our pockets, such as our living expenses, feeding, clothing, and all these things has to be taken care of. These bills have to be paid. And when you tell me what happens from there. So, the individuals here end up working every day, most of them doing something that they don't like, and guess what? Your salary is capped at a certain amount, means that you cannot go beyond that threshold, because this is what has been predetermined, which you are putting your signature on to in the first place. For those on the S side, which stands for self-employed, okay? These are people who decided to take control of their financial future. Meant that they did not want to be restricted to how much money that they can earn. And most of these people on this side are usually people like the professionals, okay? The lawyers, the accountants, the doctors, okay? The mechanics, the builder, the plumber, people who offer services. Okay? Because what's happening, when you have a service you offer, you get to charge money in return. But there is also a downside to this part as well. Because most self-employed people, once okay, means that that business has stopped generating money or income. So, what has been explained to us, okay, is that having an understanding of this left side of the quadrant gives you an opportunity for you to think further, okay? If that is what you want to end up doing, either being restricted to your business dictating how many hours as well that you put in, remaining in the E quadrant, or you want to be able to shift and move over to the right side. In his book, What the Rich Teach Their Kids, the Poor and Middle Class Don't, okay, was that we should all try to start from the right side. Very good. But the fact remains that not all fingers are equal. Not everybody was being born with the same opportunity or privileges. Okay? Meaning that some people have to start. Especially in the Western world where you are responsible for almost everything concerning you. The thing about it is that it doesn't really matter. That is just my own belief. The reason why I said that, why it doesn't really matter, is that you can start from any of this, but as you progress, you should be innovative enough to see how you can cross over from here onto the right side. Okay? You might be in a job, okay? Guess what? In that job, you are accumulating what is called experience. You are getting to know about the business that you're working in. You're getting to know how different facets of the company is working to attend to customers, to make sure goods are being delivered and shipped in the right time, or depending if it's goods and if it's goods or services that you working on. So an experience is drawn there, which can enable you start something for yourself. Okay? So, the main thing is that wherever you are, if you choose to be here, that's fine, because not everybody was born to be a businessman. Not everybody is born to be in business. Some people just like the easy way of doing things, whereby go to work and come back. Because most people also end up finding themselves in jobs that they are passionate about. So if it's something that you're passionate about, your job, you're happy with it, that's fine. Kudos to you. Now, moving over to the right side. The right side, which we'll be looking at, the B, is for the business owner. Okay? So, for the business owner, these are people who have been able to set up businesses, establishments, corporations, whereby the mechanism put in place has been able to run on its own without the owner of the business being there. Let's take Apple, for example. The reason why I said let's take Apple, for example, because Apple perfectly fits into this illustration. The reason why I said it fits into this illustration is because we all know the founder of the firm Apple, who happens to be Steve Jobs, okay? But unfortunately, he's no longer with us today. But guess what? His company is still running and is currently the largest company in the world today. That is the advantage of a business owner. Because you set up a system, you set up a mechanism, you set up a process whereby it's automated, it works on its own. You decide to work in the business, that's fine, but the business is no longer reliant on you. The reason why is because depending on how far your business is or how big your business is, now let me just digress a little bit. Let me go further into the future in terms of things that we'll be talking at a later point in time. There's something called an IPO, which is what is called an initial public offering. Now, you see, when businesses, okay, decide to go further, decide to open their doors to the public to come and invest through shares in the company, before it goes public, the investment banks, the people who help coordinate your activity, okay, one of the things that they want to look at is how the is on you. Does it mean that if you're not there that the business cannot operate? In instances like this, one of the things that they recommend, first of all, is for you to set up what you call a board of directors. Or you have other people. Of course, there will always be board of directors, because as long as you have people now invested their money in your company, there must be board of directors who are the people that represent the shareholders when dealing with the management or the owners of the business. So when this is done, they look at how reliant it is on you. Once they see that, yes, that business is too dependent on you, they give you recommendations for you to see how you could extricate yourself so that the business can run on its own without your presence. So that is the advantage of the business owner, okay? So having said that, our goal now would be to this other side, which is called the investor. The investor is one who invests his money in what you call assets. In assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, forex, arts, commodities, and crypto. So these are assets. And there's one more thing I would like to include, okay, which is insurance. We'll talk about insurance at a later time again, okay? But I would like to include it here because one of the things about insurance is that once you cover yourself, if you're there, if anything happens to you, means that your family gets paid. Let's put that in there as an asset, even though it's currently taking money from you at the moment, just in case anything happens to you, like I said, means that your family is taken care of. So, our goal, okay? Our goal is for us to see how we can all fit into this part of the quadrant. The fact about it is that business owners, okay, already have that mindset of being an investor, because what's happened is that they also invest by buying shares in their own companies, okay? But for someone who's here and who is here, now, let's look at the employee, the person who works. One of the things that frustrates individuals is that as time progresses, means that your living expenses increase over a period of time. And considering the fact that it is capped, okay? Your salary is capped means that you cannot go beyond that threshold, okay? But while you're trying to live within the boundaries of how much money you're able to get to make, you're being advised for you to learn as much as possible to put a certain amount of your income into investments, okay? For you to be able to invest in stocks, bonds, real estate, forex, art, commodities, whatever. The reason why is that the earlier you start, as you progress over time, your income increases over time as well. What you've been able to save, to allocate to assets, increase with time. So, means that even if you're that kind of person who just likes to just go to work and come back because they love their jobs, okay, but still learn to invest your money, learn to be an investor. As a self-employed also means that also learn to invest, because some people will just end up being self-employed people. Not that they don't make money off it, they do, but they are just okay with it. Those who are dissatisfied, who don't just want to be the ones just running around doing all the job all the time, who become the business owners as well, learn to invest their money. Because over time, it gets to a point in time where what you have invested, okay, now has grown to an extent where you're able to live off your investments. Your investments are able to generate for you what you call a passive income. So, with a passive income means that for someone who is there, means that you've been able to generate a passive income. So now you're having to work because you choose to work. Because it's not just a chore. It's not something that you were forced to. Because now you have something to support lifestyle. So even if we were to lose your job, you still have your income coming in on the side for you. That is what these people on the right side of the quadrant benefit. Because here, you're restricted. You are not the one deciding how much money you're making or how much you get paid. On this side, yes, even though you charge for your service, but if you're not there, money stops coming in. But on this side of the quadrant, whichever way, money keeps coming in, whether you're there or not. Because here, you're working really smart because your assets are paying for your lifestyle. So, this is what financial education is all about. Understanding the mindset, having the mindset, educating yourself so that money doesn't become a burden, because it's so unfortunate that as we progress over time, as we progress in life, okay, we get to see how difficult it could be. And without proper planning, without you having the right strategy in place, it makes life unfulfilling for you. Because now you have to be stuck in a job that you're not happy with every day, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I had to offer to you today. Like I said, this is just the beginning, okay? Because what we're going to be doing in this series is we'll be covering the financial markets when it comes to trading the market and learning how to identify profitable companies that you can learn to get to invest in, okay? Now, like I said, this is for educational purposes only. All right. So if it's something that you're looking for financial advice, I would strongly suggest that you seek the assistance of a financial advisor. But if it's something you want to be responsible for your own financial decisions, for your own investments, then this is the right platform for you. Feel free to visit my website or click on any of the link on here that says visit the website. That will take you directly to my website where you have the option of purchasing my program if it's something you like to learn about trading the market yourself. But for this is my way of giving back, of sharing the information that I've been able to acquire myself over the years as time has just gone by. So feel free to shoot me an email, feel free to visit the website, and if there's more information that you're looking for, more videos will be uploaded to help you on your journey towards financial mastery, towards improving your financial education. Thank you very much, and you have a lovely day. Take care.